I guess now I'm live. And I'm gonna have to change this like I always do. Which one have I not did? I did this one. That's the glamour. Did I do that one? What about this one? This one's pretty neat. We'll do this one. Okay. So my hair is a mess. And I actually like this because it kind of doesn't show my face. It says I have a very bad connection. Why? Do I have a bad connection? I'm connected. That's just crazy. Okay, I don't know, but I don't even know if this is up where you guys can hear me. Yum. I really am. It's all watered down. It's pretty gross. Okay, so I'm babysitting tonight. Right now my kids are watching them. And then I'm going to have to go out there and make sure they're not getting into stuff. So, it says in our giant steps, like our goal book, basically our goal book. Right. Okay, so, have you ever done something and thought afterward, how could I? That was so stupid. Conversely, have you ever done something then thought to yourself, that was amazing, how did I pull that off, or I'm impressed? The first one, yes, like, that I was stupid, how could I have done that? I've thought about those things. I don't think I've ever really thought that I was amazing, or oh my god, how did I pull that off? Maybe if it was like a criminal activity, I might have thought like, okay, how did I pull that off? I'm so cold. I feel like if I take this off, I'm going to freeze to death. I'm impressed. Okay, what determines the difference between acting badly or brilliantly? Acting badly. What's the difference between acting badly and acting brilliantly? I would say acting badly is being sloppy, not caring really about what you do. Acting brilliantly would be based on, I would say, like the things that you can do. I don't know. What do you guys think? Rarely is it based solely on your ability. Instead, it's the state of your mind and your body in any given moment that shapes the way you think, feel, behave, and perform. So acting brilliantly is the state of our mind and our body and how it thinks, feels, behaves, and performs. If you know the secret of accessing your most powerful mental or emotional states, you can literally work wonders. In the right state of mind, ideas and abilities flow in a seemingly effortless fashion. Okay, so it just amazes me, like, we can write stuff like this. This is such good stuff that, like, our government should be going by. Right? Okay, so what could you accomplish if you lived in a peak state every day? Yes, I am tired. I have not took my medicine yet, though, but I'm tired. Okay, so if I lived in a peak state every day, I guess if I was, like, consistently, like, just being, I guess, perky and all that good stuff, then I don't know how I would, I don't know. I would say I think I might feel a little weird after a while. Just because, you know what I mean? So, okay. Some more, oh, this one's a fact, not a myth, guys. Fact. Acupuncture may ease pain. It says the same organizations say acupuncture, yoga, progressive relaxation, and cognitive behavioral therapy may help when you don't get relief from standard self-care. Remember I told you that when I went and seen the vascular doctor, that he had mentioned yoga and the Pilates to strengthen my back and my veins and like basically that side of my body. So that's pretty cool. I've really wanted to try acupuncture. I've heard it works wonders. I don't know. I've not ever did it, but I've heard that it works wonders. So we are going to see what's up with it. Dang it, I missed a trash can that was literally like right there. I'm getting old and sucking at this. Yes, here we go. Here we go to our wonderful couples book. Living by priorities. Love the Lord, your God, with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your strength and with all your mind, and love your neighbor as yourself. Luke 10:27. Okay, it gives a definition. Priority, which is a noun, and it says it's something we give precedence? I don't know how to talk tonight. By assigning a degree of urgency or importance. Like we basically give it priority by its importance, saying that it is, yeah. Priorities act as a grid through which we filter our moment-by-moment decisions. So I guess we just kind of base our priorities, like, yeah, I guess we kind of do by, like, what's going on for the day or whatever, kind of moment by moment. Priorities are actually pre-decisions. When we decide in advance what's important to us, then we have a pattern to follow when the heat of the moment confronts us in the nitty-gritty details. That makes sense, really, honestly. The principle is this. Decide what to do on the basis of your priorities, not your pressures. And don't base anything on my pressures. I try to base everything on my priorities, what's important to me, and my morals and stuff like that. So it doesn't always work out quite the way I want it to, but for the most part, I would say, yeah, it does. Priorities are different from goals. That's very true. Goals are specific things that we want to accomplish. Remember, we have a list of goals. And I was supposed to go out last night with a friend, but I didn't have a phone. So I don't know if she went or not. She hasn't talked to me. I guess I just need to set something up. I've got to randomly set something up with somebody tonight. That's my goal. Tonight, and I'm writing this down. Make a date with a Facebook friend. There we go. Invariably, these don't exactly match the priorities of the mate. Worse, many times we really don't even know the priorities of our life mates. Give me 1 second while I check on children. Okay, have a seat on the couch there, buddy. Really? Where's all the kids at? When's the last time your sister went to the bathroom? Can you, find them blankets and pillows. Them two are sleeping on the couch. Are you serious? I'm back. You don't have any, like, comforters? Like, because I buy you guys those comforter sets? One extra one? That'll probably work. Until he gets home. Okay, sorry about that, guys. It sounded like I had kid bombs going off in my bathroom. Not good, not good. Hold on. I still have like this really awful, I hate it. Like sinus infection, headache thing. Ugh, I just want to sleep. That's all I want to do. And just wake up and be like, oh, I can breathe. Instead of being like, oh, I hurt so bad, like right through here. It's like I can feel it. It's like poppy filling. And like if I do this, oh, that feels so good. Like I just want to like be like, because it completely like relieves so much pressure. And then like right in through here, like yeah, if I push like right there, and like right through like basically where my eyebrow is, like if I push right through here, like these teeth, it like relieves pressure off of like, oh my gosh, that's like my back teeth right there. Yeah, that's crazy. Ugh. It feels so good though. It's amazing, like what kind of stuff your body can do and go through. It's just, ugh. So, okay, priorities precede goals. Priorities guide us into which goals to set or not set. Priorities are the important strands that run through our lives. Remember how I discussed before that like me and Jason really don't see eye to eye? Like we don't have the same priorities. We don't have the same goals in life. We just don't really have much of the same of anything, it seems like, anymore. In every marriage, each partner has priorities. Like, yes, each partner does have priorities. Invariably, these don't exactly match, okay, our mates. Worse, many times, we really don't even know the priorities of our life mates. And see, that's the problem. We don't. I have no idea, like, what Jason's goals are. I've tried. I'm like, hey, like, where do you see yourself in, like, 10 or 15 years? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? And he's like, he'll be a smart ass and he'll be like, living here. Or, I don't know. He'll just be really super rude. And I'm like, tonight, he took my car and he's going to roll down the windows, even though the windows are having a hard time rolling up. And he's going to roll them down and blare music and think he's cool because he went and got some tires on the car. I just couldn't take him. I have way too many kids here tonight. So, ouch, I have a pimple right here. Like right in my hairline, right there, and it hurts. Oh my gosh. That's not fun. Let's see, what does she say? Okay. So, priorities should be determined while spending much time alone with the Lord than with each other. An acquiring spirit of self-examination, self-denial, and surrender will lead to godly priorities. Here are the 3 top biblical priorities for married couples. Number 1 is love God. The first commandment is to love God with all of our heart, soul, mind, and strength. The same as if we would love each other, I'm guessing. The totality of our well-being. Many of us succumb to having a passion for the work of God, but not God. We must draw a distinction between our work for God, our walk with God. Besides doing good works, the other great competition for our first affection is money. To love God is to be the first priority of every believer. Number 2, love each other. The second greatest commandment is to love one another. That's hard to do sometimes, and that's very, very hard to do sometimes. Every wife and husband should make either him or her top priority, second only to God. Here's my problem in my relationship, is that I tend to be more of like the 5th priority, the 10th, maybe 12th. Like, I literally would come after a homeless person, and that's, I'm really, honestly, that's what I truly believe. That, somebody completely not...
Do you still have those earrings?
What earrings?
Those earrings I gave you.
Those clip-ons Doreen gave me? I hope you picked up all of that mess of the hair.
I did.
Okay, was it on the carpet? If so, run the vacuum cleaner just to make sure.
I did in the kitchen.
And you swept it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you not have any more earrings?
I don't think I do. I don't wear earrings. And I think those clip-ons I gave to Lily, they should be in her drawer. Go check her drawer. Or Shayla's drawer.
We're dressing her dog up.
Okay, well check maybe one of your guys' drawer. Because I put them in there somewhere. Wonderful, wonderful kids, huh? Kind of glad he took the car so I can crash out tonight. Okay, so we love each other, and we're talking about how I feel like I don't have that. Like, I'm not a priority, the first priority in my marriage. And it says I should be only second to God, but I'm not even second in his life. So that's something he needs to work on. It says we must put our mates above every other earthly concern, even the children. Because if we don't, right, then we clearly do not have, we just don't have each other to help us with the children. Yet we must never make our spouses more important to us than our personal relationship with Christ. The unique one flesh nature of marriage elevates it above every other human relationship. We leave our parents and cleave to our mate. So, that was something that was hard for Jason, was leaving, and I don't think he's done it yet. Because he says he never wants to talk about it, is leaving his parents. But it wasn't really leaving, it was leaving his mom and leaving his grown children. So, it was leaving them that caused our hardship, and our relationship just... it just went downhill after that. His family ruined us. He let them ruin us. That's really awful. Love your children. The most important thing a husband or wife can do for their children is to love each other. We try to show each other that we care, but it doesn't work every time. We all know that, right? Loving our children closely follows loving our mate. We must learn to actively love our children ahead of people who only want us for what we can do for them. Some people put their children so far behind, it's crazy. Never would I ever. The principle is to prioritize by asking, what's going to be crying? Who's going to be crying at my funeral? When a friend heard this idea, it revolutionized the way he made decisions. For example, a man asked him if he could do a radio interview. My friend, who would ordinarily leap at such an opportunity, saw his son had a baseball game scheduled at that time. He said, "I'm sorry, I can't do it. Maybe some other time. Thanks for asking." As it turned out, the radio interview was rescheduled so he could do both. I wish I could get on the radio. I tried, I filled out the application, but I never got an interview. I think I can do it. I'm pretty sure I could. I don't know. Probably not, right? If I was to fall asleep after I take my medicine. Definitely can't work the night shift, huh? LOL, right? Priorities act as filters through which we can filter our day-to-day decisions because we have decided in advance what is most important. A husband and wife will have other priorities, like work, rest, recreation, and ministry. However, loving God, loving each other, and loving our children form the indispensable core of a happy marriage. Notice the common denominator of love. I don't even know what love is. Honestly, I don't know what love is. I don't honestly know if I've ever been loved. Yeah, this pimple hurts. Maybe it's anger in here. But anyways, I don't know. I don't think I've been really super loved. You can see my medicine's starting to kick in, guys. Can you tell? I mean, look at my eyes. They're like... And I can't honestly say that I've actually truly loved another person. Besides, I mean, we're not counting children. Children don't count. I don't think I've loved another person, though. Not like that, I don't think. The closest probably would be Jason. And sometimes I have to wonder about him sometimes. A husband and wife will have other priorities. Notice the common we already read all that. What is a priority? Well, we already went over it. It's something we give precedence. It's something we give, first over everything else by assigning a degree of urgency or importance. I can't say that word. Have you lived by setting priorities? I tried to. Why or why not? Why? Because I think setting priorities is a good example to show my children. Always a good example. It helps keep my life organized, and it helps me to just be more organized. Compare your priorities to the 3 discussed. How do you match up? My priorities, I love my children. Then I love God. And then I would not know about the whole loving each other. We love each other, but I don't think we love each other all the time like we should. I think we love each other when it's convenient for us, to be honest with you, and that's on both of our ends. Make a commitment to live by biblical priorities. I've tried that too. First, love God with all your heart. Second, love your mate as yourself. Third, love your children who are a reward from God. And this is the prayer for it. Lord Jesus, help us to make these 3 relationships into our top priorities. Above all, help us to love you. Give us a passion not only for our work for you, but especially for our walk with you. Help us to make each other our top human priority. Give us the wisdom to assign an urgency to demonstrating our love to our children. Amen. I can't believe before long I'll be done with this book. Just probably about another week, I would say, maybe if that. You never know. Sometimes I like to just grab a book and start doing, like, I don't know, little activities in it. And now Ginger's little uplifting dog book. My friend's preparations for a visit from her children included a trip to the bank. Waiting in line in the teller's window, she laminated to the middle-aged man behind her. My children are in their 20s, and I'm still giving them money. When does it end? I'm not sure I'm the one to ask, the man said while glancing uncomfortably at a paper in his hand. I'm here to deposit a check for my mother. That's funny. A middle-aged guy. Yeah, you see a lot of that, don't you? That is pretty funny, though. Yeah. That would be my luck. I'd talk to the middle-aged person that was still living at home. You know what I'm saying? But it's cool. So, romance tonight. Massage, looks like. And then we gotta find, we're gonna do a surprise date in the middle of the week. So, but tonight he gets his massage, so I can mark that off. Because that's just that. Look. You gotta be kidding me. Like, I have the worst luck, and then I'm gonna fall out of my chair. I'll, like, break my leg or something. Okay, so now we've got our spa moment. And today is win, win, win. Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful with a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Come and share your master's happiness. Matthew 25:21. When you use your talents, God rewards you for your efforts, invites you to share in his joy, and gives you a promotion to boot. It's a win-win-win. So unearth those talents and go, go, go. I wish I could. I have so many talents. I get scared, I get embarrassed, and I have been made fun of so much that I'm scared I'm going to get made fun of even more. Especially like when your husband makes fun of you. That's not even fun. Right? Like, that just makes you want to be like, blech. I am your servant, Lord. Show me what you want me to do. So the activity is, make a list of things you do well and ask God which ones he wants you to use in service to him. Before you know it, you'll get a sense of fulfillment you've never felt before. How commendable. And I believe my calling is helping others. I'm what I call myself as a stepping stone. I am the stepping stone to helping others to, I guess, get... You okay, Shayla? Okay, hold on. So, she wants SpongeBob in. So, in our new book that we started, God's High Calling to Godliness. Are you wondering how touring a church in beautiful England relates to you and me and our high calling as women? Quite simply, that experience provided an opportunity to see and experience firsthand and to share with you the kind of conduct God has in mind for us as His women. I would love to see a beautiful England church, right? As we step into our study of God's high calling in Titus 2, 3-5, one of those pink passages in which the Bible that deal with women, we meet up with God's calling to godliness. Obviously, godliness is one of the essentials for godly living, and it summons us to a serious commitment to God and a pursuit meant to permeate every area of our life. But I must warn you, there's no tiptoeing into our calling. There's no warming up to the godly qualities that we'll look at in this book. So that's good. We're going to get into some stuff. Get into some stuff that maybe will be good for us to take care of with ourselves. And because I know I'm all about like getting over all this crap that's happened to me. If it takes like me doing this, it does. Oh wow, this has got questions and everything. I'm already loving it. But I must warn you, there's no tiptoeing. Okay. There's no warming to the godly questions we'll look into, and there's no apprenticeship. No, in Titus 2, 3-5, God doesn't ease us into His summons on our life. He instead commences His call right at the core, at the deepest and highest level of our calling, and that is the first calling, a calling to Himself. Because what's inside our hearts affects our behavior. How true is that? How we act with our hearts, like the things that we do, such as integrity, right? Like what we do behind closed doors, what we do in our heart, that's who we are. We want to be good. I would think we want to be good. Because what's inside our hearts affects our behavior. God asks that our behavior be appropriate for one who has a relationship with the living God. He wants our heart and actions to be reverent, godly, worshipful, and holy. He states, the older women are to be reverent in their behavior. Verse 3, or as the King James Version so wonderfully conveys, that they be in behavior as becometh holiness. Becometh holiness. Sorry, they pieced out the words. Becometh holiness. We find these words of Scripture, Titus 2, 3-5, in the short epistle the Apostle Paul wrote to his helper, Titus, a trusted assistant sent to aid the church in Crete. Paul's letter to Titus addressed the issue of order in the church and the task and responsibilities of the different groups that made up a congregation: the pastor, the older men, the older women, the younger women, and the younger men. And that says that's verses 1-6. And even though the call to this particular quality, godliness, is addressed to the older women in the body of Christ, it wraps its arms around each and every woman, regardless of age. It points first to a spirit of worship and calls us to be reverent in our behavior. As I said, it's a high calling. So, looks like we're going to learn a lot about, I guess, women from the Bible. I don't know where I got this book at. This book literally looks like it is brand new. I'm sure I got it for free somewhere. I'm a freebie junkie. So, there's our normals. Then I'm going to read, like, something silly, like, okay, we're going to talk about death traditions. 50,000 years ago, Western Asia. The earliest evidence of a funeral tradition has been traced to Western Asia's Neanderthal man, I shouldn't say it right, a member of our own classification, Homo sapiens. Illustrations often depict the Neanderthal Neanderthal. As a primitive creature with a heavy brow, thick, large nose, and brutish expression. What is wrong with me? Actually, many Neanderthals possessed classic European features and fair, hairless skin. So, they were actually fair and hairless. That's kind of interesting. So, we are... I don't know if you guys can still hear me like when I'm texting or not. Hi, Aubrey. So, it says here that from unearthed skulls, archaeologists calculate that Neanderthals had a brain capacity equivalent to our own. Neanderthals began the practice of burying their dead with ritual funerals. They interred the deceased body along with food, hunting weapons, and fire charcoals, and strewed the corpse with an assortment of flowers. A Neanderthal grave discovered in Shandadir, Iraq, contained the pollen of 8 different flowers. That's crazy. Even 50,000 years ago, man associated fire with funerals, for there is evidence of torches at Neanderthal grave sites, though their meaning remains unknown. Much later, the ancient Romans believed that flaming funeral torches guided the departed soul to its eternal abode. Our word funeral derives from the Latin funis, which means torch. Isn't that interesting how, like, it seems like everything in America is actually nothing from America? We are literally like the foreigners in our own country. That's kind of fun, huh, to think about? In addition to the word funeral, the Romans gave us the modern practice of candles. Okay, so it says here's fear of spirit possession by the dead led to the practice of wearing black at a funeral. And I always show you guys the pictures. Lighted candles around the body supposedly frightened away spirits, eager to reanimate the corpse and take possession of it. Since the spirit's domain was darkness, they were thought to shun light. As we are about to see, it was fear of the spirit world, more than respect for the beloved deceased, that served as the origin for most of our modern death traditions. Black for mourning. We say we wear black to a funeral as a sign of respect for the deceased. I never understood that, because what if, like, the deceased's favorite color was, like, green? I would want my funeral, I want everybody to wear clothes that are comfortable. Why are you gonna... That's crazy. Well, I don't want black at my funeral. But it was fear of a dead relative, foe, or stranger that formalized black as the standard color of mourning in the Western world. The custom is ancient. Early man believed that without continual vigilance, the spirit of the dead re-entered and possessed the body of the living. Anthropological evidence suggests that primitive white men painted their bodies black at funerals to disguise themselves from spirits. And there is more recent proof, in this century and the last, of black African tribes coating their bodies the opposite color, chalk white, to evade recognition and possession by the recently deceased. How crazy is this? Extrapolating from black body paint, anthropologists arrive at black funeral attire, which in many societies were worn by the closest relatives of the deceased for weeks or months as protective camouflage. The veil covered a mourner's face originated from this fear. In Mediterranean countries, a widow wore a veil and black clothing for a full year to hide from her husband's prowling spirit. There is, after all, nothing intrinsically respectful about the color black, but for a white-skinned person, it is the authentical mask. I can't read tonight. I need to wear my glasses. Antithetical mask. Coffin. Our word coffin comes from the Greek kophinos, meaning basket. It was in the baskets woven of plaited twigs that the ancient Sumerians, I don't know, about 4000 BC, entered their dead. But again, it was fear of the deceased that accounted for the origin of a coffin in the first place. In Northern Europe, drastic measures served to prevent the dead from haunting the living. Frequently, a dead man's body was bound and his feet and head were amputated. Okay, that sounds a little harsh. I'm glad I didn't live back then. To further handicap him, en route to the gravesite, I can't even read half these words. I don't even know what they mean. Cercidas' course was followed so he could not retrace the path to his former home. Circuitous course. I don't know how to do it. In many cultures, the dead were carted from the house not through the once familiar front door, but via a hole in the wall cut out for the occasion and closed up immediately afterward. While burial 6 feet underground was viewed as good precaution, entombment first in a wooden coffin was even safer. Nailing down the lid afforded additional protection. Not only were many early coffins secured with numerous nails, far too many, archaeologists contend, merely to prevent a lid from sliding off during a procession. But once the coffin was lowered into the ground, a large heavy stone was placed atop the lid before soil was shoveled in. A larger stone topped off the closed grave, giving birth to the practice of the tombstone. Interesting. Later in history, of course, relatives affectionately inscribed a family member's tombstone and respectfully visited the gravesite. But before these civilities arose, family and friends never ventured near their dead. So, that was interesting for what? The 16th century there? Is that what it was? Or was it... Sorry, that was 50,000 years ago. I don't know what that was. That was a long time ago. But anyways, I have finished doing my books. I have finished talking about my day, which was not... it was not as bad as... It just wasn't as bad, you know what I mean? It could have been worse. It could have been a lot of things, but it wasn't. So, I don't know how to do this. Actions, put user in timeout, remove, block. Okay, so I guess I just say hi to you. Anyways, I'm gonna go because my medicine's kicking in. I told you guys I would not out on you no more. I feel kind of sick too, which means I'm gonna have to take nausea medicine. I'm gonna have to check on these children's, and they're all gonna have to get ready for bed. So, anyways, good night, guys, and have fun. I go to work tomorrow. Yippee skippy. I'm glad to be back to work. I get to clean. I don't know what I'm gonna have to clean. God, I'm so itchy. It feels so good. If I could scratch and shake my leg like a dog, I would. My skin is so dry. But tomorrow I'm going back to work. I am honestly thinking about getting a night job. So if anybody knows of like a night job that's hiring, like from say like 5 or 6 to close, please let me know. Ugh. I've got my belly so scratched up because I'm so itchy. And that is it. I'm going to go put some lotion on. Oh, this stuff is gonna kill me. I don't know what I got into unless I'm allergic to my new soap. Anyways, you guys have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful night.